Today, President Biden is headed to Georgia to mark his 100th day in office. He'll be meeting with the 39th President, Jimmy Carter, while in the state. This morning, we are looking back to his first address to the nation in joint session of Congress and some of the promises made there. Joining me live from the South Side this morning is Laura Mary Phil Wilson, Associate Professor of Political Science at UIndy. Professor Wilson, thank you for joining us. There was a sweeping theme of bipartisanship last night, but the president mentioned some strong progressive issues. How challenging will some of those positions be to pass?
They're going to be incredibly challenging. And in part, this is a very ambitious plan in terms of what he laid out in his address last night, because it has to be. He knows that in a 4-year term, right now, he enjoys a majority of Democrats in the House and essentially in the Senate. He may not have that 2 years from now. And so he's trying to get a lot of things through, though he spoke a lot about bipartisanship, and there were certainly policy opportunities for it that he discussed. You also heard things about reforming policing, community college, a lot of things that probably aren't necessarily going to be bipartisan issues. And I think that's really the conflict and the address and the conflict that the administration is enduring right now.
I agree with you. The president also mentioned plans of spending $4 trillion on universal pre-K and 2 years of free community college. Do you think, as a professor, that price tag will be hard to sell Congress on?
I think it will. And in particular, that's going to really appeal to the progressives and those who are more left leaning in Congress. But you heard in Tim Scott's rebuttal that this is Washington from cradle to college. This is going to have a massive increase in terms of taxes on the wealthy, in terms of taxes on corporations. And there's always that balance. We want to have services, but we don't want to increase our taxes. Someone has to pay for these things. And I think that is going to be the real challenge here. It's really focusing on Democrats, because that's who's going to have to pass the legislation. But as he talks about bipartisanship, there needs to be an opportunity for compromise too.
And much of the president's plans here could take more than 2 years to pass, meaning Democrats have to keep a majority in Congress at the midterms. What's the likelihood here of keeping some of these promises if they lose control?
It's going to be very hard. And I think that's probably why this plan is so ambitious, quite frankly, because he knows he just passed his 100-day mark, right? He's got about a year and a half left in this first part of his term, the first half of his term, really focusing on those things that he wants to get past, that he knows in terms of calculating a risk, he might not have the opportunity to for the other 2 years. This is always that political balance. That's the part that's really hard as president. Well, I'm glad I don't have the job, but something that he has to be able to calculate and figure the players, the people he's working with right now, the members of Congress are in the seats right now, may not be the same people 2 years from now when he gives the same address.
Yeah, Dr. Laura Mary Phil Wilson, Associate Professor at UIndy, thank you again for joining us this morning. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.